Welcome back to turn 2 of Great Battles of the American Civil War, Battle of Cross Keys. Well, with this battle, I'm going to take a little different turn to recording this one. Actually going to go through a full turn with you and show you each one of the mechanics. I won't get into a lot of details, but I will highlight things that I do with this. Got a little feedback. Well, I've been getting a lot of feedback from people over time about doing a full turn playthrough, and a couple more had responded to this. So, going to do that with this one. So, what we're going to do, this first segment is going to be all about kind of the pre-activation segments of the game. And I have my little cheat sheet. This is a cheat sheet I put together years ago about the different segments that you go through within a turn of GBACW on here. So starting from the top, we've got our initiative segment, we've got our order segment, we've got our activation segment, which will probably be a separate video. I'm probably just going to do this here first and then couple in a second video with all the activations. And then finally, at the very end, we have the end of turn segment, and that'll probably be a separate video tacked on here too. So you can kind of pick and choose once I get this set with everything that I do within here to see how this flows. So let's get started with this. The initiative segment, this is where we roll 2 dice. I've got my blue and gray dice. This is going to decide who has the initiative for the turn, and that primarily focuses who gets the first AM for the turn. Now, Union had the initiative on the first turn, so they're going to get +1 to dice roll. Roll 2 dice. Union gets an 8. It goes to 9. Confederates get a 1. So the Union will retain the initiative, meaning they will select the first AM that will come up a little bit later in this segment. Next thing is to determine our chain of command. Now this is a little bit more intricate because you've got to take a look at the map and see where your units are in command. So let's flip over to the map. Okay, here we are over at the map, and clearly you can see I've already started to do some of this already. A lot of times you'll find over each turn you will be watching your command radius as you're moving, and a lot of times you'll try to keep units in command as you're moving along in there, and I'll make it a lot easier during this particular phase so you don't have to do a lot. But just to reiterate what that is you've got to look at each one of your commanders from your leaders, Fremont and Ewell, and check to see if they are in command with their subordinate units. So with Fremont, he needs to be in command of himself. Obviously he is. And Bleecker over here. And he is. He's got a command radius of 6. A little bit difficult to see here, but let me zoom in here a little bit so you can see that. Over here. All right, so he is actually a 6 over here. It's upside down too, so it makes it tough to take belief in that. So now I just count my movement points, and one thing I will highlight with this that you should get well aware of for commands is just not memorizing, but really know the key aspects of your terrain charts when it comes to leader movement. Because you'll see leader movement is probably the simplest movement in there, because most of these are zeros. Clear terrain, cornfields, and such are 1. Woods is 2. That's an outlier. Same thing with marsh, but you don't have a lot of those. But everything else is either 1s or 0s. There's a few pluses there for special terrain like railroad cuts. Towns are 2, things like that too. But know the basics up here, and that will speed your out of command determination along. So looking back at Fremont, he's basically got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over the blinker. Creeks, streams don't cost anything. Gullies don't cost anything for doing command over here. He also has the same thing over to Milroy, which is, if I zoom back out, he's over here. So Milroy's in command. Schnack is in command over here. He can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then roads are just going to be a half. They'll be 4.5, 5. So Schnack's all in command within there. So that's divisions. And then the brigades to the regiments. You can see they're all right next to each other. Same with him over here. Makes it really easy over here. Do have a little bit of a disconnect over here because you can see artillery is back here, but using the road, they will get command back to Schnack. The only one that's out of command is this guy right here. He's part of Schnack. He's way around in the woods. He's only got a range of 4. It's not going to make it all the way around over there. Okay, so that's what the command, your out of command determination is. Some of them are obvious, like these cavalry. They're out of command from Bleecker over here. And then the big one over here, which is going to affect some of our opening movements, is Stahl over here is out of command. That brigade is out of command, and he's just about to make contact with Trimble over here as well. So we do this for all, both sides on here. And we just tip you down so you can see the rest of the Confederates. Confederates over here have a pretty good position. Ewell has come over here, keep Trimble in command, but he can trace command back, because if you look right here, he's got 6 for his command. And I don't want to zoom you in too much because you're not going to be able to see it. But trust me, here you got 1, 2, 3. Now he's on the road, and then that's 4 to there. 5, 6 keeps the artillery in command, and then 4 here, 5, 6. Esley's in command here as well. The only one that's out is Stuart, because he's way over here in the woods. That's fine, because he's not really going to do anything, probably. The rest of Stuart can stay in command over here. Isley has 1 unit out over here. So they've got a little more compact structure in here, and there's only a couple units that are out of command in here. Now, one thing we do have with this is now that we've got this all determined, now we've got to figure out what our efficiencies are going to be. Now, typically, if you're playing opposed, you are going to have these chits, and you're going to pick one and keep it to yourself as a player. But because I'm doing this all as one, I'm going to show you. So we've got a 4 for Fremont. All right, these are the efficiencies that are defined by the leaders. Would it either be corps leaders, or in this case, because we're doing a small scenario, division leaders on here. So he's got 4. That's pretty good. Wasn't expecting that. And then we're going to take a look at, here's the Confederates. Their EM, is they will actually get a 3. Okay, that's pretty good. So that's going to define how many AMs that we're going to get for each one of them. We're going to find that here in a few minutes once we get to that particular phase. So now that that's all said, I'm going to jump you back over here. And we've accomplished first 2 things: initiative segment, or the order segment, chain of command, efficiency determined, divisional orders. So now what this is where units that are in command from their division, they can now change their orders. That's brigades, I should say, that are in command to their division, and subsequently back to their corps can receive orders. So what does that mean if we look on the map? So coming back over here, so there we go. So we have Ewell right here, right, and he has Trimble in command. So Trimble can actually change his command. Now I've already changed the command here. You can see he's in attack orders, but he can do it free of charge because he's in command. I could do the same thing with Isley over here because he's in command. He could actually get command, but he's not going to be doing anything. It'll keep him fairly unrestricted, because once you go into attack mode, that's going to be a little bit more restricting. But he could be, because he's in command. Now Stuart, I can't. Stuart over here is out of command. That's why you have out of commands on the brigades. One of the reasons why you have out of commands on your brigades. So he can't change orders. Same thing for individual units. They cannot change. They would not change orders if Isley had chosen to change. this unit would not be able to. They would stay in their advance orders over here as well. So this now, you can see a little bit of the conundrum I talked about earlier with Stahl over here. So Stahl is right over here, and he's out of command. So that means he can't change orders. He's got to stay in those orders, and he has to do a brigade change orders, which we will probably do on that when he gets activated. But he's got to roll, and there's a chance that he will fail and not do what he's supposed to do. Same thing for all the Union units there as well. They potentially may not all get orders, but for now I'm keeping them generally in advance orders so that they can move quicker, because advance orders you can move 6. With attack orders you're restricted to half movement, which is only 3. And I still want Milroy and Schneck moving up as quickly as possible. So there we have our division orders. A little bit of thought on that, a little bit of strategy. So you really need to understand those. Our reinforcements. Now in this turn, Confederates do get some reinforcements coming here. It's actually Taylor's brigade of Ewell's division. I'll show you that on the map too. He is actually coming in to the south. If I get this going right, there we go. Right down here. You can see them coming on right over here. He's got a fairly big brigade coming in over here to stack them off map. Now you do need to make a decision about what orders they will be in, whether they'll be march or advance. You know, maybe attack, but usually never, in terms of how they're going to come in. I think with this case, because they're so close to the battle, they'll be able to make it up here in a couple of turns, and there really is no engagement yet. So we'll keep them in advance order so we don't have to come out of that too close to the action here. So we'll keep them as advanced. Union doesn't have any reinforcements coming in. So then the last piece of it here is if we're placing in anybody in reserve. Reserve is another special order that if you have some units that are pretty beat up, they can go into reserve to recover, potentially recover fatigue and recover stragglers if it's a nighttime scenario over there, and possibly get out of being combat ineffective. So that's all for the orders segment. And the next thing I want to move on to here is the action phase, just the very beginning of the action phase. We won't actually pull an AM, but we will figure out who's going to be the first AM here. So with the AM choice, which is the next thing up here, we are going to be picking the initiative chit, as I mentioned before, and then we're going to be seeding the AM pool. What that's going to do is we're going to take what's called the AMs, which are the actual chits we're going to be using to figure out who's going to move first, second, third, and so forth at that point. So with that being said, if you remember my initiative, Union got the initiative, so they're going to get the first choice in terms of who they're going to do something with. And this is an interesting choice because they've got 2 choices in terms of AMs, because I've got AMs for Fremont and AMs for Blanker. The AMs run at the divisional level, and we need to figure out who's going to be first. I think we're going to keep Fremont moving, so I'm going to take my Fremont chit and place that on my AM chart over here. My Fremont chit, there it is, and place it on my AM chart to be the first one. I have another AM chart that shows all the AMs as they're being played. Now the next thing we're going to do is take a look at our EM efficiencies, which for the Union is 4, and that's going to be our starting point. And then we're going to take a look at our command once again. So let's go over to the map and look at our command for the Union side. So we had said that Fremont is in command, so that means he doesn't lose any command activation. So if he was out of command, he would lose one. But we also need to check if he himself or his division commander, which is himself, can add in. That's those 2 numbers here, those top numbers here. I'll try to maneuver over here so that you can see them a little bit better. Right here, it's Fremont. You can see there's two top numbers. Both of these are 0, so they're not going to get any additional AMs to it. He's still pretty good. He's got four to start, but he's not going to get any more, and he's not out of command, so he's not going to lose any. So Fremont is going to get his full stack, and that's going to go into our cup. I've got a regular cup over here. There we go. Then we're going to put our 3 AMs in for them. Next, we're going to go over, because we've got a second command over here, division command, blinker. Now, blinker is in command, which means he doesn't lose any, but he's not going to get any from Fremont. So he's going to get 4 activations as well, and those will go into the cup. Now, one thing to note, we'll see this when we play the AMs as well, because there's still some things will crop up. Because blinker is up here and stall is out of command, stall will get 1 less AM. So we'll only get 3 AMs when he activates over here. Still a good amount, but he's not going to get all 4 of them. So we've got to be careful in terms of how we use them, within there. Okay, so that's all our AMs for those guys. Next thing, we're going to go over the Confederates. And now we can see the Confederates. Now we've got Ewell over here. He had 3 AMs, so he's going to get 3 AMs, which are going to go directly into the cup with that. And all of his units except Stuart will get to use all 3 of them. Stuart will only get 2. And then the cavalry, because of their special rules, the cavalry over here, Mumford, and the other couple of units around here, they automatically get 3. There's some special rules on those, which I'll cover once they get moving. So they all go into the cup, and our cup is now seated. That's what we're going to be drawing from here a little bit later. And then we have Fremont, who's going to be leading off our turn for now. So that is it. That is the whole beginning of the turn. And we're right up to the activation pull. And that will be the next video. Starting off with the first AM, which, as we just said, is going to be Fremont. Fremont, again, is over here. Now, with an AM, this is a kind of a sequence of play within the sequence of play, where we're going to be able to move either under the advance or attack orders, fire under both orders, but there are restrictions within there, or march. We don't have any march on here, so that won't probably come into play. You could rally. That's not quite yet. Once we get some combat going, we'll see that, and possibly some construction going on here, which I've putting some thought into that, so you may see that in some later AMs. But first off, Fremont. So the narrative behind this is still Milroy is going to be reconnoitering over here to the Confederate left, and kind of pushing and driving down this way to see if he can get this road and drive behind, get this road and then drive behind the Confederates. And let's actually tilt you down here so you can see some of that. There we go. Over there, we've already got some cavalry in this area. One of them is going to be Milroy's, which we're going to move here in a moment. So let's get started with this. Milroy, one thing I failed to note in the prior turn is these regiments of Milroy should be an extended column, because they're greater than 7 movement points, so that allows them to go on the road without incurring penalty. So I've extended them. No real harm or foul to it, just pushing them back a little bit, and you'll see them move up here now. So let's go with this. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 1 point per road hex, and then we'll just turn them at the end, so there's no real big deal here. We're going to get this guy and Milroy up to there, extended column up to here. 6 movement points for the infantry. And we'll leave him back here like so. And then this guy comes up here. Oh, we should have an extended marker too. I'll get one on there later. There's nobody really behind them yet, so that's all good, within there. So that's the first move. So that's the 1st Brigade with Milroy. All right, now I activate all the brigades and all the attached units. So attached units would be cavalry and artillery. Now with Milroy, as we said, there's an attached cavalry right here. So he's actually going to move up. And what's interesting over here, I actually need to turn, move you down a little bit more so you can see it. And maybe I can zoom in on it. A little tough angle here, but you'll be able to see over here the situation with the 2 cavalries facing off. We've got the 2nd Virginia B 2-strength unit up here holding the hill. This is a very good position over here because this hill hex side is actually a 2 contour line. So that means it's a steep hill. So it's going to be tough to cross, extra movement points, and tough to fight here too. So if he tries to loop back around, he cannot make it up here. He can make it to about here, I believe, but he can't make it up the hill. So he can't really flank him. The road's the real key over here, but if he comes up this way, of course he's still in advance, so he can't get close to attack. He can move up to here, but then to try to push him off, you know, it's going to be negative numbers to push him off over here as well. Now he might not stay there, but he's got infantry support right here, and they may move up to support him too. So we've got to be careful with the cavalry. I think what we're going to do with them is just, for now, move them up 1, 2, 3, 4, and get them up here so they can see. You remember, the cavalry is supposed to be the eyes and the ears of the infantry. So we're going to try to make him that. So he can actually see over to here. He can actually see them. He can't see beyond yet, so they really can't see the infantry. 2 sides really can't see each other yet. So that's going to play in a little bit to my narrative that I'm playing here with as well. So that's all from Milroy. So that's his activation. Now that's 1 activation that potentially will occur. Fatigue. Mark that down. I've actually got a sheet there, which I'll show you a little bit later, which I will check off that he has activated for 1 turn. I'll talk about fatigue later on. Next, we're going to go over to Shrek. Now him, I'm going to do a couple of things here. Now he himself is going to stay right where he is for now, but the 82nd Ohio, right up here. Oh, I should move the screen back up so you can see it. There we go. So the 82nd Ohio is going to move forward. They're going to go 1, 2, 3, and duck into the woods 4, 5. So this is a nice little maneuver because this makes them visible to the guns over here and these units over here. So they're seeing them over here. Hopefully we'll pin them, or at least show some threat to them over here in the front. Now this artillery may move back because of that, because this artillery here, he's going to be threatened in another turn. And within this series rules here, this unit being in advance, he could move right up to it and attack it in the advanced mode because it is artillery. Infantry, you cannot do that, but with artillery you can. So he's threatened right there. So we may see them move back when it comes to Ewell's activation. Now the second thing I'm going to do right here, the unit right next to him, 32nd Ohio, right there. They're a 10 strength unit, and they do have a breakdown unit here. 32nd Ohio, where are they? Bear with me here a second. They're a 10 strength, which they do have a... They're going to break down into 2 component units. Let's see if that zooms in on it or not. There we go. All right, so they'll be 5 and 5. So they'll break down into their battalions. Now this is something unique for certain modules, Death Valley being one of them. They'll break down and they'll move out. So the first one will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We should use these so you can see better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the other one will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're coming up to support them up there. Now they are still in command. I try to keep everything in command. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, especially when they're maneuvering like this. And towards the end, then I will adjust my commands. So that'll be all with Shrek. He does have some artillery up there, which actually I think we're going to move up a little bit more aggressive with the artillery here to a defensive position. These guys are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open terrain for artillery is 2 points, remember. And then these units will go, let's see, what are they? Yeah. They'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they'll come right in with them too. They can stack, 2 batteries can stack together like that. Okay. So they'll protect the road. They do have some line of sight across through here, but it's very long range for that. So he moves up their batteries. That should be all for Shrek. That's the 2nd Brigade moved within there. We'll leave this unit right here, which I should zoom out so you can't see it. There we go. This unit right here is also part of his brigade. He did not move, so he's going to get rid of his out of command, which means that the rest of the AMs, they will be able to move without a problem, or if they want to. So that will take care of him. We will also, Clausret is just going to stay put. He's not going to use anything. He won't incur fatigue within there as well. So there we have it. That is all for Fremont. That is very simple activation. It's all moves. A little bit of maneuvering here. Hopefully you kind of get the gist of my narrative going along here and how Fremont is going to push around here. So with that, we'll move on to the next AM. Okay, here we go with the 2nd AM for the 2nd turn. So I'm pulling it from the cup. Here's my cup. Yes, this is my nice Battles of the Shenandoah upside down for you guys that I got for testing that out. So the next AM is going to be the Cavalry AM. And hopefully that's going to focus. There it goes. Cavalry AM. So with that, what does that mean? Well, let's reposition us a little bit to look at the bigger picture of things. And we will go back here. The cavalry units are kind of spread out quite a bit. Mumford and 2 units up here. The 2nd Virginia A and 6th Virginia A are up here. They're 5 strength points. We also have a 1 strength point with the 35th Virginia right here. And then we have the 2nd Virginia B down here all by himself. Now, the special rules within here, and here's where I'll lead in with the cavalry special rules here. First off, they will always get 3 AMs no matter what. They're always considered in command no matter where they are on the board. So all these units can activate at any point in time with their AMs. They're a little bit more self-guided or self-oriented to the regiments that they're at. So they will all kind of be there. So my thoughts on this, up here with Mumford, he's kind of backstopping Trimble as Trimble attacks. So he's not going to do much up there. I'm thinking that this guy right here, which is the 35th Virginia, may come over here and assist kind of spotting or, you know, learning where the Union are. So I'm actually going to move him. He's actually going to turn all the way around. That's going to be 1. Move across that. There's a little ravine there. That's going to be 2, 3 to get across there. And then down the road, 4, 5, 6, 7. And turn again. 8. No, I'll actually take that back. 7, 8, 9. We'll move him here for now. He'll come up the next AM and move up there. I think we're going to leave him right there. He's in a very good position. It's only cavalry facing him right now. Once the infantry comes down the road, that's going to be a different story. But I think for now he will be okay, just holding that line there as we figure out what to do with Stuart. Okay, so that's the first AM for Mumford's cavalry. And we'll mark that off here in a minute. Like I said, I will show you that form here, probably the next day, one of the next AMs. But let's continue on with. Let's see, that's all of them. So that's all the AMs for. Or excuse me, that's all the movement for Mumford. So on to the next AM. Okay, here we go with the next chit, and this is going to be number 3 out. This is going to be, the cavalry again. So the cavalry comes out for a second AM. They've got 3. They've got 2 out of the 3 there. Now at this point, yeah, I think I want to continue down here to the southern end of the map. And we'll just zoom in just a hair. And move you over that way. And we're going to continue with the 35th. So they will go, there's a creek right there. He's going to cross. That's 1, 2 to there. And then he's going to turn, go up 3, 4, and then 5 up to there. Just providing a picket line to the units. Now there is, I will say, speaking of picket lines, there are skirmisher rules within here to deploy skirmishers. They work kind of defensively, and they can be very good, but doubt if I'll be employing any of them here, just because of the nature of this tactical situation. Okay, and the 4th one out is going to be Blinker. There he is. Okay, Blinker. And he is up to the north, so we're going to have to just jump here a little bit. Blinker's up here. Now this is where we've got, let's see, over to this a little bit and zoom in. This is where we've got several brigades. We've got Stahl over here, who is out of command. We've got Boland over here, and we've got Knowles over here. And we've got to see what we want to do. Now I think with Stahl, he can't change his brigade order, so he's not going to be able to move up. So I think what we're going to do is take off his out of command marker. He's going to have to wait for Trimble to attack, I believe. And we'll also do that with these artillery that's also out of command. So that will come off as well. Which just leaves Boland over here. And then way to the top, right here, is Knowles. So I'd like to have Knowles potentially come up here and be reserved, but Boland is over here. Try to push forward. I think I got to get Boland to push forward here a little bit. Not much, because I don't want to run into the back end of Stahl's brigade while it's sitting here, but I think it needs to help support. So with Boland himself, he is sitting with artillery, and artillery is going to stay there. So this unit's going to go 2, 4. Let's see, now he's going to run into these guys up here. I think we're just going to do that, 2, 4 to there. And then he's going to come 2, 4, 5. Now he's behind the hill. He's not going to be able to be seen by this artillery up here, because this hill blocks them in there. And then we'll do 1, 2, 3, Oops, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Bolin himself is up here as well. So it'll still stay somewhat in command in there. And then we have Knowles, which I don't want him too far away. I think he's going to come back up in the center. I don't want to get too much in the flanks here. So he's actually going to turn, and then he's got to cross a ravine. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this guy will come up behind him. Actually, the blinkers hex. And then he will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Into there, and they're all coming up here to form up a new reserve. Not sure what to do with the artillery yet, so they'll just stay in line back there, and they'll move up that way. So when I zoom back out here, you can see what this actually looks like there. All right, now, yeah, Stahl is he's not going to do anything. They could have shot with this one over here at them, but yeah, again, waste of ammunition. I do have cavalry over here too that actually will lose their out of command because I'm not moving them yet. There's no cavalry action, and you find that with cavalry they tend to not do very well against infantry, and seeing as each strength point there is a direct loss, it's not good. So onward to the next. Okay, before I start with the next AM here, I wanted to show you the fatigue chart. I know many people have created their own. This is the latest one in 3 Days of Gettysburg that I'm using. Oops, tilt it down. And you can see what this does. It allows you to track the activations, fatigue, and shock right on here. Nice little one. You can see I've checked off some for Milroy, Schenck, Bolin, and Knowles over here. And then for the Confederates, you can see Mumford has had 2. And that's going to be important because with 2 activations, if he takes the next one, he is going to incur fatigue, which we'll talk about as we go along here. So next activation, and so far this is just a little bit of maneuvering before we get into it. I think once Ewell comes out, we will get some attacking, and we get another Fremont. So all of the Union counters are coming out first, which is interesting. That means they will get all the movement, and then the Confederates can respond. So with Fremont again, I think we're going to continue our advance to the south with Milroy and Schenck moving up here as well. So let's get them going. I think Schenck, they've got an interesting proposition over here because I can take the 82nd, and actually let's zoom in here so you can see this a little bit. And zoom in a little bit more for you. There we go. So the interesting proposition here is he's in attack, not in attack mode, he's in advanced mode. These are artillery units over here. He can potentially get up here and potentially attack them before they get out of there. Now, the tricky part is here what to do. So I think he is going to advance. So he's going to go here for 2. Now I'm going to stop it there because now we have a potential reaction to that movement. One thing I just checked on this is that they can't react and retreat because this costs more than 2 movement points here to retreat. But they can still do something here, and they will, once he moves up here, they're going to do a reaction facing, which will allow them to spin around here. So he's going to move his second move over there, and at this point, this Baltimore artillery will do a reaction facing turn like that. Now they do have to do a UDD, basically a morale check, to see if there's any problems. They roll a 0, so there's no problems. They can now turn and with that, and now they're facing this unit here. Now that unit can do what's called approach fire on the Union, which allows them to shoot, all their guns here at him as they approach here. He can't shoot because, of course, he's in advance, so he will not get a shot, but the guns will. So we're going to have our first combat here. And 1 second while I get my charts all up, and I can go from there. So with this, we have three different types of guns. We've got a TB, P10, and a H12. TB is a 3-inch rifle. A P10 is a 10-pound Parrott. H12 is a 12-pound howitzer. Okay, so we're going to resolve three shots. All three of them are going to shoot at that unit at close range. Now, the shot here, because they're at close range, will resolve on the small arms table. Oops, that's a little close, isn't it? Yes, it is. Let's zoom that out. There we go. And there's our fire tables right there. So we're going to resolve on the small arms, not on the artillery, small arms. So first off, we're going to do the TBs. There are 2 strength points. All right, they're firing at close range. So we take a look at their range effects. And TBs at a range of 1 is a +3. Positive numbers are better for the firer. So they get a +3. Now they are firing into the woods, so that's going to give a -1. These are all in the combat sheets and also listed over here. I'll just recite them rather than show you, just for ease of use. So he gets +3, -1 for woods, and just looking down here real quick, everything else looks fine. There's nothing else. They're in canister range, so there's no downhill. So it's going to be on the 2 chart with a +3 to the dice roll, or +2 to the dice roll. So, ooh, this is not good. So we rolled an 8, +2 makes 10 on the 2 column right there. This is for the 3-inch rifles. Rolls a big D. That means they're disordered. That unit is disordered right there. And now we go down the line. The next one is the Parrots. They are 1 strength. They're at, again, 1 range. So P10's at 1 is a +2. They're firing into woods, so it's going to be a +1. So 1 at +1. And they roll an 8. All right, +1 is 9. That's a little d. All right, little d means they've got to do a UDD, cohesion check here. They're a 5, and they roll a 5, so they're okay. All right, and the last one's the howitzer, which is a 1 strength howitzer. And that will be a +4, and then a -1 for the wood. So it's going to be +3 on the 1 column for them. And they roll up this time. Dice didn't work. But they do get a +3, but that winds up being a nothing. And there's no result over there. But that did have some effect, because that firing right here disorganized that infantry unit. The 82nd Ohio is now disorganized. So that's going to make it tougher for them to potentially attack these guns up here. But they're still going to try, because they do have support back here a little bit later on. All right, so that's all the movement and firing for him. Now, shock attacks do come later in the turn. We've got to move all of our regiments within the brigade, and then we'll have our shock attack. So let's move up these next guys to figure out what we're going to do here. So they've already done approach fire on them, so they can't do another approach fire. So we're actually going to bring him up 2, 3, 4 to there. Now, this guy can't react. He's not in the frontal hex over here, so he's kind of stuck And then we're going to bring up, I don't want to cross. That's steep slope there. I don't want to do that. I want to try to get up here. So he's going to go 2, turn 4, and 5 to there. They're higher up, so I don't want to get into a fight over there because they've got better cover. They've got woods, and they're higher up there too. So, and 1, 2, 3, it's not very effective with rifles. Now they have muskets over here. They have rifles. So, yeah. Now we'll leave them back there as reserve. I don't want to get Shaq too far into the battle here, but he's got some tempting guns to attack over here. All right, so they've moved up. Now, one of the things with this that will be interesting, and oh, by the way, the rest of his command, which is behind here, if I zoom out, will just remain where they are. They won't move up. Actually, he'll move up. This is only their second, yeah. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he can be part of the attack. Now he's going to be out of command. That's fine, but he's going to be over there. They may take these guns and then pull back. We'll see how that goes. All right, so he moves up, and also because they are moving, infantry moving, they can actually charge. So they are going to be charging up the slope, across the creek, up the slope. We'll see how that's going to go. Well, I have to take that back a minute. They are under advance orders, so they do not get the ability to charge. So this is just going to be a straight shock attack over here. You have to be under attack orders to be able to charge. So they're not going to get the charge bonus here. But we're going to go through the shock phase with these guys right here. So these 2 units will be shocking him right there. We're going to put shock marker right there so you know who's being shocked. Okay, so that artillery is being shocked. Now, there's yet another sequence for this. Within here, it's right on the play charts. It's actually fairly easy. It's not that bad. So we've designated our shocks. We've only got 1 right here. If we had more, that would be different. Perform retreat before shock. Artillery can't retreat, so they don't do anything. Green shock commitment. These units are not green. They would have a G on them in their cohesion if they were. And then defender pre-shock cohesion. So this is where the guns, top unit of the guns, needs to roll a cohesion test, and there is no modifiers. No, because he's okay. And he rolls a 0, so they're good. So they don't disorder for the shock. Next, we have the reaction fire. So now these guns can again shoot at both of these units. I think we're going to split them up because we can split them now that we have two artillery, or 2 targets for the artillery. The TBs are going to fire at Shank's X. Say that fast. So he's got 2 strength points. It's going to be in the open right next to him, so that's going to be a +3 on the dice roll. So it's on the 2, a +3. He rolls a 4, which gets us a 4 + 3 is 7. The little d right there on the 2 column. So just checking, his cohesion is a 6. Shaq can help him, goes to 7, and they roll a 4, so he's good. Right, so that's the first shot. Second shot's going to be the P10s are going to shoot over here at the disordered guy. So that's going to be a 1 with a +2 for the guns and -1 for the woods. So it's +1. He rolls a 7. On the 1 column goes to 8. That's a D, a -1 right there. And his cohesion is a 5. They roll a 7. -1 is 6. So they actually take a second disorder. And a second disorder is losing a strength point and retreating 1 to 2 hexes. So they forced them back out of the shock attack. So, and take strength point loss. So they're going to go back 1 to 2. They're going to go back 1. I think I'll send them back 2. That. There we go. All right, so that just leaves the H-12, which is going to fire at Shanks's hex. They're a 1 with +4. There's no woods, so it's 1 + 4. And they roll a 4. 4 + 4 is 8. That is a D-1. Now, Shank is going to help them again. They're going to be 6 + 1 is 7, and they roll a 3. So they're okay. So they keep coming. So that battalion of the 32nd Ohio is now going to shock attack this artillery. And now it gets really tough because the artillery is very vulnerable in this position. So the shock attack for this is on back of the chart here and is a sequence to the actual shock, determine the DRMs, resolve shock, conduct advances, continue shock, and so forth. We'll go through those if they happen. So the shock itself, let's take a look. So he's a 5 strength, and we're going to compare strengths first off. He's a 5 strength versus all 4 of these are artillery, which they have a special strength calculation for them. Basically, take the strength of all the artillery, divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So their strength point is 1. So it's a 5 to 1 attack. All right, so looking at our combat odds, 5 to 1 is a +5. Okay, so that's good for the Union. Next, we're going to look at defenders disordered. No charge benefit. Stacked with aggressive leader. No. Shank is N. Terrain chart. So we do have some terrain here, and I should zoom you in here so you can see the terrain a little bit better, because there's quite a bit of terrain that's going to make a difference on this this attack. So first off, they're in woods. All right, and that's going to be a -1 right there for being in the woods. The second thing that's going to help the guns is that they are crossing a steep slope. Okay, so it's attacking up a steep slope. That's going to actually be -2. So now we've got -3. Remember, we had a +5, -3, okay, to get across there. And then I think that's about it. I'm just double checking. Yep, that's fine. So I think that's about it. So it's a +5, but then it's a -3 for the defenders. Let me just check other DRMs. Attackers disordered, no. Brigadier is here. They are in advance orders. Oh, I missed that one. Yep. So they're in advance orders. So that's another minus. So it's -4 now. And yeah, that's about it now. So it is +5 -4. It's going to be a +1 attack on them. Now here are the attack results. You can see right here. Sorry, I'm zoomed in. I will zoom you out here in a minute once we roll. But we're going to roll 1 dice and add +1 to it. Ooh, it's a 1. So 1 + 1 is 2. So a 2 right there is a bloody standoff. Both sides are disordered. Okay, so what that means is that Shank's hex here, they just flip because they were in good order. But all the artillery is now disordered as well. And this is tougher because all these artillery batteries now don't have any firepower. And so, you know, whatever happens next could be somewhat decisive in there. So nothing moves, nobody retreats. They're just disordered off of here. Okay, so there's no advance retreat with this. They'll just stop right there. But we do have one more step in our shock, and that's the post-shock automatic disorder. Now the attackers take an automatic disorder, all right, which here in the post-shock means just losing one strength point, treated as stragglers, or just the confusion of the battle, whatever you may call it, but they lose one strength point. So they will drop to a 4. So that didn't work out too well for the Union. Even though that was a tempting target, Schenck's attack was blunted, mainly because it was attacking these tough hills and cliffs that are right in here. And you can see them all along here as I have you zoomed in here. You can see how difficult this terrain is, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't opt for a frontal attack coming across here. Okay, so that is all of Schenck's activations. Let me zoom you back out here now. This is where it gets a little bit longer with the activations. And we are now going to move on to Milroy, because now I can move him up, and his is going to be a little bit quicker because he's just going to move forward. He's got to threaten this flank. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And actually, he'll turn this way. So we'll be back here, just so you can see the threading of this all. Milroy will continue his advance to here, to here, here. Oh, I didn't get the counter for him yet. Now I got to figure out where I want to keep him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'll keep Milroy here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll keep him in command. You can see this is where calculating this out as you're moving them makes a big difference, because I've strung these units out. Let's see if I can zoom you out because you don't see Fremont on the table there. There we go. So all these units are in a line, and because they'll all be in command if any one unit is in command. This unit is command of Milroy, and he can trace back to Fremont. So they will stay in command, and most likely they're going to stop there for the turn, and then we'll work out next turn later. So that's Milroy's, pretty quick. And then the other one here, who is it? Clausrent. He is just going to sit back there. He's reserve, as well as Knowles back there for now with everything. So that will end this second activation for Fremont. Okay, here comes our next activation. That was kind of an eventful one for Fremont. Didn't expect Schenck to get up there, but he saw those guns up there and decided he wanted to try to get them. So next one is that cavalry. It's the third cavalry activation. Now this is interesting. I say this is interesting for a couple reasons. One, this is their last activation. We have 2 units up here. You notice Fremont has moved up. Fremont's activated twice. Now it's going to be a guessing game a little bit. Does Fremont want to try to move up closer? But remember, he can't go into attack mode. So it may be wise just to leave them right there so they don't incur fatigue, because if they do move, they're going to incur fatigue. And we don't need to have that right down. As I said, Mumford over here is in good position here as well. So I think we're just going to leave them right there. And okay, so next one after the last cavalry is Ewell. Finally, we have Ewell coming up here. So Ewell gets his first activation. Now there's a lot we're going to be doing with Ewell now, because he has seen a lot of action coming on here. We've got several instances of things going on that he needs to address. One is this attack over here in this artillery that's in a perilous position under Stuart. This whole area over here, which is now under threat from Milroy. We also have Trimble, who wants to get into the action and kind of beat up Stahl up here. And then we have our artillery in the center kind of holding off, but we may think about building some breastworks up here just to reinforce this area a little bit more. So we've got a lot to do here, but it's the first AM, so we don't have to do everything at this point. But I think there's a number of things that we need to take care of here. I think first we're going to go down here with Stuart. And let's zoom in. Okay, I think this whole flank is threatened all the way up to about where he's located. And I think what we've got to do is try to get these batteries out of here. But if I do, they're going to take fire. I think we're going to have to do a withdrawal, which can be a little dangerous here. They can try to move, but they can only move one vertex and then into there. Now, they're going to have to do a withdrawal, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. So they're going to use what's called withdrawal movement, which allows them to basically retreat back 1 to 2 hexes, and we'll see, maybe just 1. But at the cost of having any enemy units, namely this Ohio unit right here, gets a free shot at them. Okay, so they're going to try to withdraw. So I'm just going to move them back just a hair, and then this guy's going to shoot at him. Now, his shot's not really great because he is disordered, and he is firing into woods. So his strength is only 4. You can see that 4 strength up there. So it's going to be in the 4 column. He's shooting rifles. That's going to be a +1. He is disordered, so that's going to be a -1. So that cancels each other out. He's going to be firing into the woods, which is going to be a -1 as well. Up a steep slope is actually going to be another -1, so he's going to get a -2 for terrain on there. And that will be just about it. So it'll be a 4 with a -2. Let's see what happens. So he rolls a 4 with a -2, makes it a 2 right there. So it's a D -2. Okay, they're a 5 for their cohesion, and so D -2. They roll a 5, which becomes a 3, so they're okay. They get out of there. All right, but they're not done yet because they're going to come back into here. Now the movement cost for that is 4 points. Now, because it's greater than 1, we're going to have to do a UDD with them and see what happens to them. So this is going to be, they're rolling again. This is going to be a straight UDD, but it's going to be a +3 to the dice roll. So they roll a 4. 4 plus 3 is 7, which means they fail. Okay, and now even I have to do this. We have to look at our second disorder chart. And actually, let me zoom this out and I can show you what this looks like here. The second disorder chart, it's a handy chart to tell you what happens on the second disorder if something happens. So in this one, they're doing a withdrawal movement, second disorder, hex cost greater than 1. If they fail, they can't move into the second hex. So remain disordered in the first hex. So they get to move back 1. So they go back into here, but they can't move any further. So they made it out of the hex to there. And they are capable of continuing the fight, for now at least. Stuart himself is going to come over with them to help position for potentially rallying them the next turn. All right, so that takes care of them. First, Maryland is just going to pivot. They're now facing that threat. We have these guys over here. Those are our breakdown units. They're going to stay in this position. 2, 3. Actually, they're going to move up just a little bit. They're going to go 1, 2, 2, 3. There's a ravine there, and they're going to go 2, 4, to there so that they stay in command. Stuart ultimately, I think, is going to come this way a little bit. And then this guy is also going to move up to provide support for them, potentially taking over that position. So he's going to move up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, turn 3. There's a big gully there I didn't want to cross. And up here for 4. He's musket, so I need to get him into position over there. He's still going to be out of command, but that's okay. All right, so that takes care of Stuart. Isley over here. Think what I want to do with him. He needs to hold the center and provide some sort of reserve. So he will not activate this turn. And then we've got the big one over here, Trimble, getting into some sort of attack. So let me reposition you a little bit. This way. There we go. Now you can actually see the action over here. And I think what we're going to do, I did want to start over here, but see all the Stahl's men up here have kind of enveloped this unit up here, which is good. It keeps them over there, and it leaves this flank a little open. And I'm going to start with an attack over here. So we're going to first move up this unit here, like that. Can move into there, and that kind of locks him in. And he's also going to take a shot at him because he's got muskets. So good old buck and ball. We'll see what happens over here. So he's going to be shooting at this unit. This is the 15th Alabama against the 39th New York. Now the 39th New York can shoot back at him at this point. So this is going to be simultaneous shooting. So I'm going to roll actually 4 dice. 2 for the attack, each attack, and then 2 for the cohesion checks if there are any. So this is going to be 4, strike the 4 muskets into the woods. So it's going to be a +1 for them. On the reverse side, this will be a 5 with a +1 for rifles, +1 for prepared fire. If you don't move, you get prepared fire. It's +2, but into the woods. So it's going to be +1. So each one of them are going to have +1. Let's see what the shots look like. All right, Confederates, they get a good roll. They get a 9, which means on the 4 column, they're going to get a hit. That is going to be a D +1. That's what I thought. Or 1D, I should say, which means they automatically take a strength point loss and they're disordered. All right, now this is simultaneous here, so this all happens together. So I'm flipping these guys over, and at the same time, they're shot at 5. They rolled a 2, and they had a +1 to make it 3. On the 5 is a D -1. All right, so they're going to do a D -1 on these guys. So they're 7. They roll a 5. 5 goes to 4. They're okay. All right, so they disordered them. They took Union took the damage on that. Now here's where the real kicker comes in, because we're going to take this 15th Alabama B and go 1, and then they're going to turn, and then 2, 3. And that fits very nicely because they only get half movement for their attack. So here they come on the flank of the 39th New York, right there. 39th New York cannot respond. This is just going to be a one-way attack by the 15th, which they're a 4 strength. They are muskets as well. So it's going to be very similar to what we had before. We're going to have +2 for the muskets, -1 for the woods, but now we're on their flank, which gives us a +1 bonus. So it's actually going to be 4 with a +2. See what kind of damage they can do. They roll a 5. That's good. It's something I want to show you there too. So 5 goes to 7. 7 on the 4 column is a D +2. So they get a +2 on their UDD. They roll the 4. 4 + 2 is 6. Notice their cohesion is only a 4. That means that they're going to take a loss and have to retreat. That's, again, that second disorder chart, which I showed you before. In this case, what we're getting is, where is it here? Oh, here, from fire tables, right over there. Lose 1 SP and retreat 1 to 2 hexes. So they are going to go back 1 or 2 hexes. So they're going to go to a 3 and go back, I think, 2 hexes, because they're going to need to recover, like so. So that attack was pretty devastating on their flank. Now he cannot move up. This was firing, so he can't move any further at this point. Okay, they're all stuck there. Now, one thing I will point out, they rolled a whoops, I put it off camera, didn't I? Sorry about that. I must have missed the other one there too. They rolled a natural 5, which means they go low ammo. Okay, another little bit of crunchiness to the game, but this is the low ammo. And that means they get a -2 DRM until they replenish. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so that's the first couple units of Trimble's attack. All right. So now we're a little emboldened here, and the question is, do we still keep coming up and try to go after these units? I can't really get into here yet. All right. I can get to the frontal hexes, but that means I'm exchanging fire, and I really don't want to exchange fire with this guy because he's full strength 10, which means he's going to fire a 7 in there. So I think I'm going to hold these guys off a little bit and try to push this the next activation. And seeing as we've got that Ewell is most likely going to have a back end activation, so he's going to get a good shot to roll this lineup over here. Now the question comes over with Trimble's hex. Where do I want to do with him? They could move up, potentially try to attack this flank up here, but you notice this guy's up here facing, so he's going to take some shots. If a unit, moves up into here, tries to shoot at this flank, he's going to take some damage. Now the thing is, I could move him up, and this might be an option because they're not in attack mode right here. I could try to move him up and crush this flank, and then move the other guy up over here and crush this flank. That sounds pretty good to me. So actually what we're going to do is have him come up first, 1, pivot, free pivot, and then go 2 to here. All right, that's going to lock, or actually he can actually pivot. Sorry, he could actually pivot, which I think you were going to try to do. He needs to UDD, so we'll roll a dice. Rolls a 4, he successfully pivots in there. So he is now facing over there. So now if they exchange, they're going to exchange fire up there. All right, so we're going to see. It may not be as effective with it. And then he's going to come up to here and provide support over here. Actually, we'll do this. I want to fire them now. No, I'm not going to fire him now, but I am going to bring him up and fire him now. So he will shoot at him and they'll return fire. So one of them is going to be an 8, or excuse me, not an 8, but maximum firepower out of the frontal hex side is 7 SP. So even though he has 8, he can only fire 7 strength points out of that hex. So he's firing 7 into here. He is firing 5 back. The 16th Mississippi is musket, so it's +2. There's no terrain benefit over there. The rifled units there, they're a +2. Right, yeah, there'll be a +2 as well because they're rifles and then prepared fire. So both of them are going to have +2. So let's roll it out. The Confederates roll a 4. Goes to 6. So a 6 on the above a 7 column is a D +2. Okay, and their dice roll for the cohesion check is 1 plus 2 is 3. They're a 5. They're okay, so nothing happens to them. Now for the union, they rolled 3 plus 2 is 5. On the 5 column is a D, just a plain D, and their cohesion is a 6. No effect. So that was just 2 volleys back and forth with each other. No effect on either side. All right, so we've got those units set. Now we've got Trimble himself with the other half of this unit. And I think he's going to want to, yeah, he can move up over here, but he can't shoot because he's using more movement points. Right, he's using more movement points, and I think I'm going to have Trimble actually stay with him for the moment. There we go. And they're not shooting at all, and these guys, as we said, are not moving here as well. So that takes care of them. All right, next, what do we have? Let's zoom us back out. And I think we just have one more set of units. There's some artillery right here that are reinforcements from Jackson himself. These have been attached to Ewell, even though they're the purple color. They've been attached to them. So I'm actually moving them up to help support a flank over here. So let's move them down the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll get them up here as well. Provide some sort of backstop over here. And then we also have artillery up here, which, as I said before, I think I'm going to have them, because there's no action in the middle, they're pretty safe. We're going to have them start constructing breastworks. And what these are, breastworks, see there's the counter. That provides extra bonus for morale and firepower and defense for all those. Even though they're in a great defensive position, you know, this will actually help them a little bit more. So we're going to start them building that. It takes 2 turns to actually construct them. So this is the first turn. At the end of the next turn, they'll be fully constructed and be ready to go. Okay, so that is Ewell's. Okay, next one coming out is Blinker. That's Blinker's second. And now he's got some stuff to think about over here, because Stahl has been attacked. And they've got to do something about it. Now, there's a lot of shooting over here that can happen. Stahl himself may need to come over here and support support the recovery of this 39th New York right there. I think what we're going to do to start off, this unit can't see across here, so he can't shoot. This unit, he can, because they're on the same level. So he can actually fire. Now this is a frontal, this will actually be a frontal shot. Then this guy can as well. So we're going to start over here. He's going to fire 6. He's at a range of 1, so that's going to diminish his fire just a little bit because of the range modifiers. At a range of 1, he's still, no, at 2, he's still a +1, but they will not get prepared fire. So they will be a 6. Yeah, they will be a 6. And there'll be no return fire. There's no other modifiers there too. So just a +1. 6 to a +1. They roll a 4, goes to a 5. 4 goes to 5. And a 5 on the 6 is a D +1. But then they roll a 0. So no effect. So that was this guy right here. Now we can shoot this guy. That's 7 at him. He will not return fire because he's right in the frontal arc. He's going to probably shoot at him. So that's going to be 7 with a +1 again. Oh, this time they get a hit. This time it's a 9. +1 is 10 on the 7. That's a 1D. So that means they're disordered and take 1 hit. So they go down to a 7 strength point. Now these strength points coming off, they will have some effect once they start whittling down some more. Right now it's just early in the game. All right, so those were those couple of shots. Then we're going to go into there and just straight firing here to here. These guys can't see each other, but then the artillery might be able to do something. So these guys right here, we've got a 5 with a +1. This time you can get prepared fire for 2, and he's shooting back over here 7, +2 -1. So +1 for the Confederates, +2 for the Union. So for the Union, they roll a 4, +2 is a 6 on the 5. 6 on the 5 is a D +1. All right, D +1 over here. And they rolled a 1. Oops, put that over there. Well, the 1 +1 is 2. So they're okay. They don't get any effect. Then back here for the Confederates, they rolled a 0 on the 7 is a D -2. And then they rolled a 7 for the morale. -2 is 5. That's what their cohesion is. So no effect. All right, so a lot of volleys, but not much effect here. The next one down the line, these guys, 6 versus 5. +1 +2, but that's going to be up a steep slope, isn't it? Yes, it is. So it's going to get a -1, I believe. Quick check of the charts. Yes, -1. So they're going to be +1 +2 -1. +1 for the Union. Confederates will have 2. The muskets, 1 for prepared fire. So that'll have a +3. Here we go. So the Union gets a 6. With a +1 makes it 7. That's on the 6 column. That is a big D, so he is disordered. And then we have Confederates, which is a 2. +3 is 5. That's on the 5 column. That's a little D. And then the morale roll is a 4 and a 5, so no effect. So these guys have been disordered. These guys are still in good stead over here. So now Trimble, in response, his unit here, the 21st Georgia, he can respond fire over into there. Okay, so that's going to be 5 with a +2 for, muskets. With a +2, and he is also prepared fire, so that's +3. He rolls a 6. +3 is 9 on a 5, is a 1D +2. So we take a strength loss, so they will go down to a 5 over here. And then we have to roll with a +2 on the dice roll. So it's a cohesion roll is a 3. 3 +2 is 5, which is just their cohesion, so he's okay. But he did take a strength loss. So quite a bit of action over here on this right side, Confederate right side. Nothing decisive, but just back and forth. We've got one more with stall. We've got the artillery, and this infantry unit over here does see this guy up on the hill. So we're going to take a shot over here. First, the guns. They are 10-pound Parrots. So that will be at a range of 2. So that will be a +2. And then they're in the woods, which is a -1. So it's 4 with a +1. They roll a 2, goes to a 3. On the 4 is a D -1, and then they roll a 1, and no effect. They can shoot back. Of course, they have low ammo, which I didn't shoot back before, but they're low ammo, so it's gonna be bad because they're muskets. So at that range, they're actually a -1, I believe, or -2. It's negative. Let's just put it that way. So we're not going to shoot back at them. We'll let them shoot with their other rifles over here. for the moment. So there'd be 3 with a +1 and -1 for the woods. So just a straight 3 roll. Let's get the dice here. There we go. So they roll a 0 on the 3. Is no hit. So there's nothing, no damage to them or anything. All right, so that's all the firing here with most of Stahl's units. And the only other thing is, I think Stahl's going to come over here and try to recover this 39th New York. So he's going to try to help them. So their base of 5 +1 for him makes, base of 4 +1 for him makes 5. And they roll a 5. So they recover. They're beat up there. They lost 2 strength points. So they're in a little bit of a danger zone there as well. But that's all for Stahl. All right. So that was quite an eventful 1st Brigade activation, or 2nd Brigade activation, 2nd AM activation for Stahl's Brigade. Yes, I can say it once I get my brain slowed down a little bit. Next, we've got Bowler over here. I'd love to have them come up and try to flank them, but they can't get close enough, and this artillery over here would be able to start firing at them. They would, get rid of their construction markers and open fire on them. Might not be, well, I can't overextend too much. I think we'll leave Bowler where he is. We do have some artillery, but the range on this is so far away, and with the woods, really going to have 0 effect on them, if anything at all. The cavalry back here with Bowler, I think we will just leave them there as well. And then Knowles, do need to, this is their 2nd. Actually, I'll leave Knowles there. He won't do anything for this activation. And that will actually end Bowler's, Bleeker's. Okay, here we go with the next chit. And this is going to be Blanker. Okay, there's Blanker again. All right, so we're back over here with, this is his 3rd chit. So this is going to be an interesting situation. Now this is where, let's zoom you out here. This is where the fatigue chart comes in. Now with Blanker, Stahl, Bolin, and Knowles have all activated once. Let's see, I'm trying to remember here. Stahl, yeah, his first one, he used his out of command, so he's still got one other one there. Bolin just activated to move up. He didn't move the first one. And then Coles, he activated once, yeah, to move up over there. He didn't activate the last time. So they do have another activation here before they incur fatigue. So this is interesting because we could get some more shooting over here, particularly with Stahl, to try to push back Trimble's initial attack. And I think that's where we'll start. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So there's a few things we can do over here. These guys still can't move up because they can't move adjacent to an enemy unit because they're in advance and they can't change their orders right now. So they're kind of stuck, but they can still shoot. He can shoot over here at him. That's going to be 6. With a +1 for range. 6 + 1. Rolls a 8. All right, that's going to do something here on a 6 with a +1. 8 is a 1D. Uh-oh. That hurts. That hurts. So he drops to a 6 strength point. And he's going to take another D, which means he's going to take another strength point loss, which drops into a 5 and retreats 1 to 2. He's going to retreat 1 to there, I think. And that gets him out of the line of fire, at least from this guy and from this guy. But the problem is now This one can shoot both of these. Well, he can shoot at him. He'll shoot at them. So this guy will shoot at there. There'll be return fire on this one. So this will be 5 versus 5. +1 for rifles. +1 for prepared fire for the Union. And then muskets. And then -1. It's a +2. And then -1 for disordered. So it's a +2 for the Union, +1 for the Confederates. So the Union rolls a big fat 0. So that's going to be a miss most likely. +2. Actually, it's a D -2. They rolled a 5, which down to 3. They're fine. Confederates rolled a 4 with a +1 makes it 5. 5 column. That's a D, little d. And they rolled a 5 and basically no effect on each other. Okay, moving down the line here. Trimble Hex here is going to take fire from these guys here. So they're 5. +1, +2, -1 for the woods. So it's just a +1 for the Union. And then Trimble will be, I should say, the 21st Georgia will fire back, and that'll be 5 +2 +3. It'll be a +1 for the Union, +3 for the Confederates. So the Union rolls a 3, +1 is 4. That's on the 5 column. That's a little d, and they rolled a 2. So they're fine. Trimble's there to help them out. And they rolled a 2, which goes to a 5. That's also a little d. But then the Union rolls a 9, which means they're disordered. 9 is greater than 5, so they are disordered over there. All right, so that's a quick set of volleys there, which wound up being a little bit better for the Confederates than the Union. Now, coming along here, these two cannot see anybody. Same with this guy over here. And we just have the artillery over here. They're going to take their shot back at the guy with the low ammo. So that will be a 4 with P10s. That'll be 2 +2 for range, -1 for the wood. So it's 2 +1. They roll a 0. That's going to have no effect. All right, as I said, no fire back because the negative modifiers and the threat of running out of ammo. The 3 unit will fire. He's 3 +1 -1. So the straight 3 roll. They roll a 5. Oh, they rolled low ammo. They roll a 5, which is low ammo for them. And 3 is a D. They roll a 3. There's no effect. So other than low ammo on that infantry unit that's with the artillery, not much effect there. That's kind of effect for the long range fire, particularly into woods, rough terrain in there as well. Okay. So that is Stahl. I think Stahl himself, he's out of command 2, and then that is a steep slope, so that's going to be 3 into there. He's out of command with those units up there. He's out of command with these units up here too. I think he is going to move up. Go 2, 4, and in with him to try to recover him. He's staying put for now. Oh, this unit right here, this is the one I want. He is going to refuse his flank, so he doesn't have a open flank over there because they've knocked out that other unit. So he's going to refuse his flank like that. When he does this part of movement, it just costs 1 movement point, and there's no other penalty for that. I think this unit back here, he could move up, but I think he's better back there. So we'll just leave him alone. So I think that's all with Stahl. No, they're not going to. They potentially could shock attack over here. They're in advance, so that's going to give them -1. Plus, there's some disorder there too, so it's not as a effective attack over there. Stahl is just kind of holding out. They moved up and got hit, and having a tough time over there with it. So, and it shows. So now let's take a look at Boland behind here, because Boland, again, I think I want him to support, and he can move because he's only activated once. He's got to come up a little bit. I'm just not sure how far, because, well, that would take out there. Yeah, I think they need to move up. So he's going to move over here, which is going to be 1, 2 for the stream, 3 for the gully there. And then 4 to there. They're going to stay near the woods. And then 5 to there. Puts them in range of these guns. So we'll see what happens with them. And then Boland himself is going to take his units. I'm going to cross this stream. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then 4, 5, 6 to there. That's tough movement right in there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's gullies right there. So you're going to go down and up and down and up. So that'll still keep him in range. I don't know. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Yeah, he's just going to be out of range. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, or 5, 6 to there. So he may move over here next turn. We'll see. I'm going to kind of move these guys and go 2 to there, and then 3, 4, 5 to there, and stop. And I'm going to leave them. I'm going to move them over 2, 4 to there, just following along. They need to support over there, but I don't want to get them, too far away. Let's see what we have over here. Oh, we've got some more artillery. Now the question is, with this artillery, do we move them up? And I think we do. We'd be a little aggressive with the artillery to support. So he's in a tough spot. He's going to have to go back and go around. Let's leave them alone right now. They're okay. All right, so that's Boland with his movement. And then Knowles. I think Knowles has got to come up behind the artillery for support. So he's going to go 1, 2 to here. And then his extended line will just collapse up with him. It's easy enough. And then he will go 1, 2, 3, 4. His extended line will collapse with him because they're in range. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. I'm going to keep him in extended line. Boland. And then the artillery. I don't need more artillery. I'll just move up there. All right, so that's all of Boland's. The cavalry will just sit back there. They're perfectly fine where they are. So we'll just leave them there. So let's zoom us back out. And you can see where we are with everything. And you can see how Boland is threatening this attack over here, which is good. He probably can't do much about it because there is not much... there's no ability to change orders. So, anyways, on to the next. Okay, next shit out is Ewell. Focus in there. It didn't really focus on there. Come on. There we go. Come on. There it is. It's Ewell. Okay, so Ewell, this is their second. All right, so Ewell has some opportunity over here as well. One thing I didn't do last turn, but it's not a big deal, is move up Taylor. So I think I will do that first. Now Taylor is down at the bottom here. He's just coming in right here. And you will come in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right to there. And then 6 to there. 6 to there, or not 6, but in line right to there. So it'll be something like that. So we'll put some extended lines on here. And I'll put some more on for these other guys a little bit later. And then Taylor himself will just he'll move up to the Mill Creek Church. I think he can make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he can make it up to there. That'll put him in range of Ewell, easily in range of Ewell, and they can move up over there. So that's Taylor. That's his first one. Then we've got Trimble up here. What do we want to do with Trimble? He's on the attack there, and let's zoom in so you can see that. Shift it this way a little bit. All right, Trimble is here. He's been taking some attacks pretty hard over here. Got units moving up. We still want to try to turn this flank. They knocked out one unit, but they're about to be flanked here as well. So now it becomes a question of, do we want to get this artillery into action? And I think we're going to have to drop the construction on this. I think we're going to leave Trimble for a moment and go to the artillery. I'll drop construction on them. They're going to take a shot at these guys up here. So let me refocus you on them. There we go. So the Lynchburg artillery here, 2 3-inch guns plus 12-pound howitzer, and take a shot at the Pennsylvanians up here. Now they're out of range. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they should be out of range because the range is once you get over 2, it's pretty bad. At 4, yeah, it's being -3. So that would be a tough shot. I mean, they still could do it to 7 -3, but it would be in woods. That's -4 at the same height. But it'd be -4. Well, they may take a shot back. Well, first off, let's take the shot over here. So first one's going to be TBs 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're shot and shell range. So with that, I should point out we will be using the artillery table because we're at shot and shell range, and this now comes into play. So TBs at a range of 4 is going to be no modifiers. There's no height advantage. Yeah, that's about it, I believe. Yes. So 3, straight up 3 roll. Here we go. You roll a 3 on the 3. Dice roll. 3. On the 3 column is a D -3. They roll a 4. Makes it a 1, so they'll pass without a problem. Next one is going to be the H-12 howitzers. They're a range of 4. They're also a 0, so it's a 1 with no modifier. Roll an 8. Ooh, that's pretty good. 8 is a D, a little D, meaning they've got a roll, and they roll a 0, so no effect. All right, but it did take off the construction marker for them. All right. The other ones here, I think him is a P10 and a 3-inch gun. Now, I could have combined them, too. I fired them individually here, but I could have combined them. But I did get that second hit by separating them. I think I'm going to pull it on this guy, too. This is the 8th Star battery. And they're going to fire across here as well. Oh, I was going to see about some shooting back. It's going to be -4, 7 -4. Let's see what happens. They roll a 3. That goes down to a 1. Or it goes down to a -1, which is a miss. Right, so they've done their shot. This guy will shoot. They're going to combine for 4 shot. They're all going to be 0 range. but it'll be on the 4 columns. So let's see here. Oh, they're rolling 8. On the 4 column is a D plus 2, and then they roll a 6, which gets up to an 8, which is higher than 5. So they are disordered. And that is helpful, because now they will be in a little tougher position to attack, if at all, with that. So those guns are fired. These guns are going to stay construction field works, particularly this one. These guns over here, yeah, this is interesting. Can they, without turning, they are actually 1 height lower too, so they can't really see them. They won't do anything there, although they could dig in. No, I don't think so. That's okay. All right, so that's all the artillery. So now let's come back over to Trimble, minimizing the threat on the 15th Alabama's flank. We really want to try to crush these guys. They've refused already, so they'll be able to get a shot off this way. These guys have low ammo, so I'm going to take these and move them up to there, and then take a shot on them. So that's going to be 4 plus 2 for the muskets, minus 1 for the woods. They'll be able to return fire with 2. Now flank, what happens is you divide the strength by 2, and the lowest goes towards the flank. So in this case, we've got 5 divided by 2 gets us 2.5. So it's 3 in the front, 2 on the side. So we'll fire 2 back with a +1 on there. So there'll be 2 plus 1. There'll be 4 plus 1. Here we go. So the Confederates get an 8. On the 4 with +1, that's a 1D plus 2. And they will have a 6 for the morale. So 1D plus 2. So they will drop to a 4. And the D plus 2, they actually disorder. Go like that. And these guys shooting, they rolled a 9. So that was 2 with +1 on a 9 goes to a 10. That's a D. They flip over. All right, little effective fire on both sides there, but now comes a little bit more of a hammer blow, because this guy is going to come up and fire on them. Now they can't shoot back because they've already fired for this turn. So it's going to be 4 muskets into the woods, so it's a +1. All right, so that gets them 4. Plus 1 is 5. Actually, they can fire back because that's the front, and that front didn't fire. So they can fire back with 2. I apologize for that. So we will be firing with that. They will roll a 4. Fast roll a 4. Plus 1 is 5. On the 4 column is a little D. And they roll a 2, which should be okay. There are 2, yes. So they can shoot back. They're already disordered, so it's going to be +1 for range, -1 for disordered, -1 for woods. It's going to be 2 minus 1. See what they get. They roll a 0. No effect. All right, so that was exciting, but we'll probably get a shock over there because they're disordered. Now, this guy, I really don't want to tackle with this guy, so we're going to leave him here. We are going to recover our ammo for this guy, and he recovers. That's all he does over there. All right. So that's good. Now, moving along, we've got Trimble over here. He's going to take a shot into Stahl's hex. So that's going to be 2 plus 1 is 3. So 5 plus 3. And it will be 5 minus 1. All right, here we go. So they roll a 7 with a +3. Ooh, that's going to hurt quite a bit. 5. That's a 1D. All right. And the leader is okay. But it's a 1D. So he drops to a 4. Then he's going to have to retreat and lose one more, which drops him to a 3. Let's get a 3 out here. And he's not quite collapsed, but he's going to have to retreat. Go back 1 into there. And Stall will go with him. Yeah. And now for the return fire, they rolled a 9. Which, let's see, there were 5, 9, -1 goes to 8. They're big D. So this flips over. All right. So now, oops, they flip over. Come on. There we go. All right. Now, at this point, they could advance in there because they haven't moved yet. And that would put him right on the flank of this guy. But he could pivot. He could pivot and potentially fire into them as well. So Trimble is going to hold on him for the moment. Now Trimble didn't. Trimble participated in there. So, yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Actually, I wanted Trimble to move up and recover. Try to help recover this guy, but that's okay. He participated in there, so these two guys are going to try to recover on their own. So the first one, he is a 6, but he's in the front of another unit, so it's a +1. 3 + 1 is 4, but he still recovers. And the guy behind him is a 6. He's like rolls a 1, and he recovers. Okay, so that's all of that. So now, shock attacks. This is a tough one, but I seriously want to do this. We're going to do a shock attack right there. Just have one of them at this point. And they're going to go right into there. So let's take a look at our shock attacks. And we've designated our shock. That's easy. Form retreats before shock. Does this guy want to retreat before shock? He is facing 9, and he is is facing 8, and he's a 4, 2 to 1. He's disordered. Yeah, he's gonna beat feet and run away. So he's gonna lose his fused flank. That comes off, and he is gonna go back 1. Now he has to UDD. This could be damaging. He rolls a 3, so he passes. He's okay. So basically that ends the shock. Let me put this back here. Now, Confederates have a decision. All right, because the shock has ended, but these guys can still advance into here. Now, if they do, they could move in over here, but that puts them right in the front of there, which may not be a bad thing at this point, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to actually take this off. He's going to advance, and that basically ends the shock. There's no post-shock disorder or anything like that. In fact, there wasn't even a shock because we never made it to the shock resolution phase. But this guy is now, he is going to try to refuse his flank. So he's going to do a reaction, refuse his flank, which is, it's going to be automatic. He's going to be able to do it. But he's got to see if he disorders. So 5 or less, well, it's a 4. So he's okay. All right, so that puts a front hex, 3 front hexes around there. He's in a front hex as well. Okay, so that's all the shock. That's pretty much it for Trimble. Okay, let's take a look. Let's zoom out here and see what's left. We have LZ over here. Again, he's holding the line over here and being reserved, so I don't think we're going to do anything with him. And then we have Stuart, who's going to use his out of command at this point and get rid of that. So his units don't move. And then we will try to, next turn, we'll try to recover those guys. I think everybody else is good. And that will do it for Ewell's. Okay, here we go with our next activation. There's a handful left in the cup. And this is going to be Ewell. Comes out again. So this is his third activation. All right, Ewell comes out once more. It's his third activation. Now, looking at the chart, he has activated Trimble twice, Stuart once, Mumford's cavalry, Patton, Tyler, he's activated once. All right, so let's get Tyler moving up here again. He's down here to the south, and we'll tip you down so you can see that. There we go. So he's just going to move up. He's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And these will just stay extended. Comes up to there, to there, to there. And these guys come up here. And these guys will be back there. I need an extended line. Oops, I need an extended line. 2 extended lines. There, here, and here. I'll try to fill those in a little bit later. All right, so that gets Taylor up. Now he is, I'm not sure where Ewell's going to wind up. Because Trimble's up there. It'll be 2, 4, 6. So Trimble's going to come back. All right, we'll see about that. I think we'll keep Ewell roughly in this general area. Actually, he may go over here to the artillery. Be a little bit closer to the center of the action. All right. Trimble, he's done 2 activations, so we may need to think about just some rallies here, unless we want to press the attack, which this could get interesting here. Oh, he's the big guy, but he's split now. He's have to shoot 5 here and 5 here, so that's a little bit better. He's disordered. We would take fatigue. I think we can afford it. It's early. This would just be his first fatigue. So I think we're gonna get Trimble continue to attack. There we go. On here as well. So let's see, 21st North Carolina. He's gonna come up to here and he's gonna fire into them, and they'll get return fire of 5. So it's gonna be 4 versus 5. Plus 2 for the muskets, -1 for... No, he's not in the woods, is he? +2 for the muskets, and that's it. Now he's going to shoot back. He's 5. +1 for rifles, +2 for prep fire, -1 for woods. So he's a +1, and they're +2. All right, let's see how it goes. So, Confederates get a good hit. Actually, let's zoom you in here as well, so you can see the fighting with Trimble. And he's just going to come over there and zoom in. All right. So he rolled a 9, which is a big hit. That's on the 4 column. A 9 + 2 is a 1D on him. So he'll go 1. He'll lose 1, so he'll go down to 9. And he will be disordered. That's a big hit on that large unit. And return fire is going to be on a 5 with a +1. So 5, he rolls. Let's roll a 5. So that's going to be low ammo. 5 plus 1 is 6 on the 5. That's a D +1. He is a 7. And they roll a 5. 5 + 1 is 6, so they're okay. So they took damage, and Union did not. All right, so that brings up an interesting situation here. We've got them disordered. We could potentially bump them back with just some firing. So they're going to shoot the other half of the 21st. The 2nd Battalion there is going to shoot at them. And they will also return fire, but now they're going to be disordered. So it's actually going to be 1 for rifles, -1 for disordered, -1 for the woods. So it's -1 on them. These guys will get a 4+2 with the prep fire makes 3. So, oh, another good hit for the Confederates. It's 8. 8 plus 3 on the 4 is another 1D. Oof, they're getting really beat up here. So they will drop down to an 8. And they're going to have to take a 2nd disorder, which is going to force them into retreat. They will lose their refused flank, so they'll drop to a 7. Now they have to retreat. They will have to go in to here with stall, and I think they will go in there and stop. So they've retreated out. So a couple good volleys have pushed them out. Now the Confederates did have a chance to shoot. The Union did have a chance to shoot back. They rolled a 7, -1 is a 6 on the 5 column is a D+1. And then they roll a 6. 6 plus 1 is 7, so they're okay. So the Confederates come out unscathed while the Union gets pushed back there. All right, so those 2 units are complete. This guy over here, he really needs to rally. So we're going to try to get him. He's a 6. Rolls a 5. He's in good shape again. All right, this guy, he's got some worry on his flanks. So he's going to have to spin around. Spin around like that. And then he's going to refuse his flank to deal with. Actually, does he? Because they're not. Yeah, we're going to refuse the flank. Okay, so that takes care of this end of the line. Oh, I did notice something up here that I missed. This guy fired at him when we retreated. This guy could actually fire too as a 2nd shot. So let's take care of that. He will. He is a 3. He's rifle disordered and into woods with a -1. 3 -1. Rolls a 6. Down to 3 is a D-2. Yeah, so he rolls a 4 -2 is 2, so he's okay. Yeah. Want to make sure of that, because the unit is next door to someone who's fired and he isn't being fired upon, he can fire back. So now we have Trimble over here. He should help him, but he should. Well, let's take care of this first. He's going to shoot here. They'll fire back, so that's going to be 5. Firing at 5. +2 for muskets, +2 for, or +1 for prep fire. Now the Union, they get +1 for rifles, +1 for prep fire, and they're firing up a steep slope. So they'll have a -1. So Union will be 5 + 1. Confederates will be 5 + 3. Another good roll. 9. On a 5 + 3, that's a 1. That's a 2D. Oof. That's rough, because that's the worst you can get on the fire table. So they will drop down to a 3, and they will flip over. Confederates rolled, or the Union rolled a 7 with a +1, makes it an 8 on the 5. That is a big D, so they are disorganized up there. So that was useful. But Stahl is getting thoroughly hammered over here by Trimble, historically correct. So now we've got the 16th and we've got the 6th. So I think he's actually gonna. Oh, how are we gonna do this here? There's a good chance we can do something here. So he's gonna go up to here. He's gonna try to recover himself. With my attack marker up there. So he's a 6. He rolls a 4, and it does it, so he's back in good order. And this guy is going to come up to here, and they're all going to go to shock attack him like that. Yeah, he's not going to shock attack over here. So there'll just be one shock attack right there, as you can see. So we've designated it. Retreat before shock. I think he's going to retreat before shock. He's got an overwhelming force there. So he will retire back 1 hex into there. So now he has to UDD. This could be hard. So he's a 4 or less. And he rolls a 4. So he's okay. He doesn't, nothing bad happens to him. All right, so he UDD'd okay. Now Trimble. Trimble's forces can advance. Oh, he's disordered. Going to stay there. This is a May advance, so he doesn't have to. Yeah, they're going to stay there. I don't like what's coming up over here, so we're just going to leave him there, and that will end the turn. But, or not turn, but activation for Trimble. But he does get a fatigue marker, so we're just going to put that right there behind him. And Trimble's up to a fatigue 0. Okay, moving onwards here. Let's zoom you back out. And we have Elsley and Stewart way over here. Elsley is here. And Stewart is over here. This is the little conundrum here, because Schneck has come up, but he's kind of been repulsed here a little bit. Oh, Stewart. Yeah, let's start with Stewart, because he's got to do some rallying here. He's going to try to rally the Baltimore battery right there. So they need a 5 or less. Actually, 6 or less with Stewart's helping. They roll a 4, so that works out. And Baltimore battery is back in good order. Now, I think I said Stewart had only activated once on here. Yes, he has. And so he could do some moving if we want to. I think he's okay. Up there. He could potentially... oh, no, he can't. That's going to be blocked. But this side, so he can't shoot it there. These guys, well, no, they're muskets, so they can't shoot. Okay. I think they're going to just stay put. There's nothing really convincing to have them move. And then we've got Elsley over here. He's got his 1 unit. He's got to, yeah, he's going to come out of command, so that'll come off. 1, 2, 3, 4 to there. 5, 6. Yeah, it's too far away. Don't want to get him too far out of his command here. But actually, you know what we could do? Yeah, that would work. We're going to move back the 25th here and the 12th back to here. Still supporting there, but that will free him up to go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe. Let's see, 1, 2.5. 3.5. 4. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they go back up one. He'll go with the guns right here. Give them some support. 1, 2, 3. He's in there, and they're all supported in there. So they're all good. And then he should now be able to 1, 2.5, 3.5, and get them in command as well. Now he is going to be well out of command, I think, from Ewell. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Yeah, well out of command of Ewell. So he'll be out of command next turn, potentially here, if I don't do something else with them. So Elsley moved, and so did well, Stuart didn't do anything, but Elsley did. Okay, Elsley, and then Trimble, and then Tyler. Okay, so that's that activation complete. And we move on to the next one. That's going to be Fremont. Now this is Fremont's 1, 2. This is his third activation. Now Fremont has already activated Milroy twice, Schenk twice, Clausret none. So, all right. So again, we're going to play it kind of with his personality and everything. We're not going to move anybody because we don't want to incur fatigue. Again, this is just a reconnaissance of force. So I think we'll leave Milroy where he is. Schenk needs to do some recoveries here. He needs to recover this guy out in front. So he is a 5. With help makes him 6 or less. That is a 4. So he recovers. There we go. And then we're going to try for this guy in the back. This was 82nd Ohio. Needs a 5 or less. Rolls a 2. So they're in good shape again. Now they didn't actually move or fire, so that doesn't incur fatigue. Also, too, what doesn't incur fatigue is artillery. If artillery moves, they won't incur fatigue. So I think I'm going to do that. These batteries here, I'm just going to go 2 to there, 3, 4 to there, and they'll position like this. That's a good spot for them. That's a little higher elevation. They'll be able to sight down this way, and actually I'm going to turn them facing this. They'll be able to sight down roughly this angle right here, so they could shoot up at these guns here maybe later on. We shall see. Yeah, we're not going to move anybody else. And Clausret, he's fine there as well too, so that will do it. So that will be Fremont's activation. Okay, moving down, we just got 3 more activations left. This one is Fremont again. I think with Fremont, this one, again, he's not going to do anything. Everybody's rallied. Everybody's in a pretty good position. Let me see. Oh, Schneck, he needs to move back, though. Let's see here. 1, 2, 5, 6. He could go to there, or he could stay back there. That'd be 1, 3 to there, and then they'd be all in command. Yeah, okay. He's going to fall back to the guns. That'll put him in command for the next command phase. He's in command, and so is Milroy. So I think that will be all for the last one, next to last, is Ewell. This is going to be his last one, his 4th. Okay, so let's take some stock here of people. Stuart, we rallied. Everybody's in good position. Nobody's changed position. Isley has gotten him in command. He will be out of command. They will be in command. They fired, so they're not going to do anything. Taylor, he's okay for now, I think. I think it's just going to be really our guy up here, Mr. Trimble, right up in here, to see what we need to do with him. So I'm pretty confident there is some. I'm not going to do any movement because he's already incurred 1 fatigue. I don't want to get any more, but we'll see about rallies. Yeah, there's one rally right under him. He is 6 + 1 is 7, second or less. Rolls a 6. He's back in good shape. Trimble's in good shape there. So there's one more thing I noticed here I'm going to do here. This 15th Alabama A is going to, destroy everything. They're going to facing change just one like that. They can do that without incurring any fatigue. They will face change there. And that will be it. So there's no fatigue with any of them. And the last one here is going to be Blinker. That's going to be his 4th. Now with Blinker, what are we looking at here? Blinker, stall. Yep, everybody is activated twice. They're not going to incur any fatigue, but we do have some rallies that we want to do, particularly with Stall. So let's take a look at Stall over here. He's got this guy disordered, under him is disordered, and they're disordered. They're going to all try to recover. So they're going to be a 4 or less. 7, that fails. Now under Stall's hex, we've got, they're a 4. He can help them to a 5. They roll a 1. So the 41st New York is back in good order. And then underneath, the 8th New York is a 4 going to a 5. And they roll a 6, so they fail. He helped 1. That's probably the best one to help. The last one over here is the 39th New York. They're a 4, and they're in front of a enemy unit. So they're going to go down to a 3. So 3 or less, they roll a 4. So they fail. And the last thing is this unit, the 13th Pennsylvania. It's going to lose its low ammo. And it's going to recover ammo to lose its low ammo marker, I should say. And that should be all for Stall. Moving on to Bolin. Bolin just has 1 unit to recover here. And actually, Bolin, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Bolin can actually move up there and still be, oh, wait a minute, 1, 2, 4.5. Yeah. Bolin's going to try to help him. So he'll make him a 5. And they roll a 0. So I didn't need the help, but it worked out. All right, so that will be all for Bolin. And then Knowles. Yeah, no, he's not going to do anything because I'll incur fatigue. So that will be it. So that's all of our activations here. So I will move on to the end of turn segment to wrap up this video. Okay, we're on to our end of turn segment here. You can see that in the bottom of number 4. In here, we've got commander movement phase, replace recovery phase, combat effectiveness phase, and then the turn marker. So this should move along pretty quickly. So let's jump back over the board and talk about command movement. So here we are back to the board. Now, command movement is where your regimental commanders get to move on the board. So that would be, in this case, Fremont. We don't have one for the Confederates because we're dealing with Ewell, who's a division commander, and he can move with the units. But Fremont is a corps commander, so he can only move in this phase. So this is where I may or may not want to reposition him. Now, I've already set him up with these guys to be in command. And then we've already got Blanker in command, which is important. So I think we're just going to leave him there. If we had some really big moves, and potentially if we get Milroy attacking over here, he may need to move up at that point. But I think we've got our best command structure going right now for the next turn. So now, replacement recovery phase. Now, in this, we don't really have anything going on. We don't have any eliminated leaders, and we don't have any in-reserve activities going on because we have nothing in reserve. If we did, that would come into play. So then we just check combat ineffectiveness. And for now, I mean, we've just had some light skirmishing here with a few losses, and some heavier skirmishing up here where they've taken some losses, but nobody is collapsed completely yet, and no one has been eliminated or routed yet as well. So there's no combat ineffectiveness here for either side so far. So that's it. We move the turn record forward, and we're on to the 2 p.m. turn. So hopefully this has been interesting for you. I know I've gone through this fairly quickly, trying to give you little tidbits and stuff to this. I play kind of quickly because I've been playing this for a number of years, and you know, hopefully it gives you a sense of how you can get to play. It does take a little bit to get ingrained with, as I said, the terrain effects chart. That's a key one to try to get under your belt and try to remember. A lot of the games are very similar, so you don't have to memorize them line for line, but you know, simple things like the clear and the woods and the heights, you know, those are things that should get into your mind fairly quickly with that. Then also the calculations for the firing and which charge to use for artillery is important over here. You'll find that most of the time when you're shooting, it's really just going to be your range effects that are going to apply, your terrain effects are going to apply, and then you may get some of these others like artillery firing at a lower position, prep fire, of course, that's another big one, and then some other here. So you know, keep going through them. If you're playing this now and you're learning for the first time, just keep going through them. They will become ingrained into your mind with them after a while, and the same thing with the tables there as well. From the standpoint of shock, the shock piece of it there is, it's one more set of combat. So yeah, it's a little tough from that perspective, but that is important because that's how you actually push people out of hexes and get them disorganized and potentially panicking. And one thing I would say is know the procedure. Again, it's a procedure within a procedure within the sequence of play. Get to know this and just follow this right along. This is the key thing. If you follow the procedure, you will get ingrained. You will remember things that, you know, people tend to forget. So, you know, keep looking down through this and you'll remember things like the green commitment if you have it in there. Or the biggest one that I continually forget is apply post-shock automatic disorder, all right, and how that gets applied. So keep looking at this, referring to this. Make sure you use, you know, all of these charts within here. All of them have good information in terms of how you need to do your shocks and how it's going to work. And, you know, that'll make things go quicker and easier for you when you are when you're playing each turn. It will take time. You can see by this one. Don't know exactly how long this is, but I know I'm well over an hour into this turn because I'm talking through it and thinking about it at the same time. So I had a lot more going on in my mind, you know, with this as well. But as you're playing, particularly if you're playing opposed, you will find that it will move quicker because, you know, you've got that second brain there to help you out with everything when you play. Hopefully you have fun with this. Like I said, it is a good system once you get into it. The simple worlds are simpler, but you will follow the same similar sequence of play there as well. So you do have some sense that this is the same, just speeding things up in terms of combat and what you're doing. So thanks for watching this, and we'll move on to the 2 p.m. turn and go from there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, comment, like, and we'll go from there.